Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to have a very comprehensive guide on how to research crypto projects because that's essential, and I see a lot of beginners coming into the space now and feeling overwhelmed of what project to choose, what to invest into. So we'll go through it step by step today so you can identify which projects are worth investing into and of course which projects will bring you gains. I usually use in my personal research, I use 15 research points, and I'll explain each one of those, what it means, what to look for, and how to analyze it, and I'll give you some good examples and bad examples for each one of those points. So hopefully by the end of this video you will know how to score any crypto project systematically and make smarter investment decisions. And once you go through this course, if you want, you can download the free research list, the research framework that I've developed together with checklist to help you build your own system in researching projects. I promise you'll find it very useful with questions to prompt you and help you to know what to look for and when. So the first point on my list is problem and market fit. This is about understanding the real-world problem a project is solving. Ask yourself, is there a genuine need for the solution that this project is providing? Determine if this solution is actually unique or if the space is already overcrowded, if it's a copy of something else. Usually you want to have a project that is unique, that is different from everything else that exists in the space. So things to look for is the clear problem statement that it is solving, and unique solution and clear differentiation. An example here, very simple example, is Ethereum, a project that everyone knows. It solved programmable smart contracts, massive growing market, and the first mover advantage. It's something unique. It's something that was not there before. And of course, by example, could be any meme that you actually look into that doesn't have any utility. It's solving no problem. You know, sometimes meme coins can be exciting, but usually I would bet on projects with fundamentals that are providing a solution because those have a long-term vision and they're more likely to last longer. So yeah, Ethereum solves really a genuine problem, decentralization and smart contracts. And any other meme that you look into is mostly hype, no clear use case or need for it at all. That's the first thing. Then the second point on my list, and you can have more questions to help you around this point on the checklist when you're looking into a project you want to research. Number 2 is technology and innovation. This is about how a project works. Ask, is the tech genuinely innovative or just marketing buzzwords? A lot of projects nowadays are just buzzwords, complex, complicated words, complex ideas, but nothing is actually implemented. So check if the code is open source for the project and actively maintained. You want to see a working product. You want to see that the team is making updates, upgrades. Like for example, if you look at Casper, you can see that the team is constantly making changes and updates. So we need to look also for novel architecture or protocol, active GitHub, because this is showing you that people are working on this project. And of course, you need to have a product that is available for testing or use. That's very important because that's what we are here for. We want to see the product. An example here I would give with one of my favorite projects, Casper. Casper uses the block DAG architecture for fast parallel confirmations, and that's something genuinely very innovative idea. It introduces real tech improvements, and that's what you want. That's a perfect example. And you can find a lot of other projects that are just using buzzwords. They don't have a product, they're not serving any purpose. But Casper is definitely one of the best examples that I can give here on this point. Point number 3 is team, advisors, and backers that I research. A strong team increases credibility and execution probability. Anonymous teams, which are very often seen in the space, or inexperienced founders are high risk. Always check for reputable investors or advisors. So we want to see public, experienced team. We want to see advisors or ventures with a track record. And you want to see transparent roles and backgrounds. If you look at Solana, let's say, Solana is good because it has founder with relevant experience, backed by reputable ventures. That's a perfect project. And bad example could be anything where the team is anonymous, not known, or they have bad record. And you can check the founders on social media, LinkedIn, you can check them on Google, literally anywhere you can find information for them. For example, Solana's founder, Anatoly Yakovenko, has technical experience, which strengthens the confidence in this project. For example, Sui's team is the former Meta developers, known as Facebook. So these people are people with experience and with record, with good reputation. For example, Casper as well. Casper's team is full of researchers, people who know what they're doing, and this increases the credibility and the trust in this project. Anything anonymous or without record or with bad record, that's even worse, is your red flag. Point number 4 is tokenomics, and that's very important and can signal a lot. Tokenomics describes how the token works, the supply dynamics, and the incentives. So we need to evaluate here the total supply, the circulating supply, inflation, and vesting schedules. Those are the 4 elements. And of course, we need to check utility, what the token is used for. And what you want to see when you go through this research, you want to see predictable supply and distribution. You want to see realistic vesting schedules, and you want to see tangible utility, fees, governance, staking, or something in that niche. An example here is Chainlink. Chainlink token is used for Oracle fees. We've got transparent supply and we've got controlled vesting, and it has genuine use. So when I say predictable supply and distribution, what I mean by that? This predictable supply and distribution tells you how the token supply grows, shrinks, and stays fixed over time, and whether that behavior is transparent and, more importantly, sustainable. So we want to see clear maximum supply. If you look at Bitcoin, it has 21 million. If you look at Solana, it has capped inflation. So we need to see clear maximum supply. That's usually a good sign. And we want to see transparent distribution plan for teams, for investors, for communities, for liquidity, for treasury. We don't want to see surprise minting. You don't want to see hidden admin keys that allow unlimited minting. You want to see predictable emissions. You want to know exactly how many tokens will be issued yearly, what the vesting schedule looks like. And you want to see fair initial distribution. Some projects you would see that they have 80-90% dedicated to insiders or to the team. You don't want to see that. You want to see fair distribution of the tokens. If you don't have maximum supply of the project, this means high inflation, and this is not good for the long-term price. So if the team or insiders wallet are holding too much of the supply, this is also another red flag. And why does that matter? Is because if you have a predictable supply, it means you would have more predictable price dynamics, because as you know, investors hate uncertainty. Then I also said realistic vesting schedule. Vesting schedules basically tell you when insiders, team, ventures can sell their tokens. And you know, usually those they have bought at very cheap prices, or they're holding a lot of the supply, and if they are able to sell it at an early stage, that creates a lot of selling pressure. You want to see long lockups. You want to see long lockups for the team and the investors from 1 to 4 years at least. And you want to see gradual vesting, monthly or quarterly, instead of, huge cliffs and huge unlocks at once. You don't want to see massive unlocks events that will crash the price. And you want to see clear vesting schedules published by the team, made public and clean and clear. And you want to see distribution aligned with the project growth, no pump and dump, no surprises. Usually what you would consider as red flags when you look at vesting schedules is that the team tokens unlock in the first few months. That's a red flag. You have VC token unlocks before product launch. You don't want to see that either. And you don't want to see huge cliffs of, let's say, 20 or 30% unlocks at once. That's way too much. Of course, some projects would also have the vesting schedule information missing or vague. That's another red flag. And again, why it matters? Because if insiders unlock early, they would dump on the retail investors, and the price will collapse and you lose your money. So that's why understanding vesting helps you predict sell pressure and avoid exit liquidity situations. We often discuss that on Discord. I have members who are following these metrics, and they come and sometimes they say there is a big unlock coming, so we might expect selling pressure. I might sell before that, especially if you're trading. You need to know when those unlocks are coming so you can predict the price move. And we also said tangible utility, real use cases. This explains basically why the token exists and what value it gives. A token with no utility is just a meme coin, and you don't want this. A strong token has demand drivers. So when I say real utility, what that could be? It could be fees. Token is used to pay gas fees. You have Solana, you have Ethereum, you have BNB examples here. You have also examples where token is used for transaction fees inside a protocol, for example, SUI applications. And this creates constant buying pressure because users need the token, right? So that's fees. Then you've got governance. This is used to vote on protocols, treasury allocations, and different parameters. You have staking. Staking earns real revenue, not inflation. And that also helps secure the network, like Solana, Ethereum models. And additional utilities to look for could be collateral in DeFi. For example, you've got projects like Aave. You get access to premium features, you have incentive rewards for liquidity, and you have burn mechanism tied to activity like BNB, Ethereum, and so on. So there are different types of utility that you've got over here, and that's usually green flag. When it comes to the red flags in this category, what could be a red flag is that utility is vague. For example, there are some projects where you would see it says ecosystem token, but what that actually means and what it does, nobody really knows. It's just buzzwords, which what we said before. There are also red flags where rewards are paid in inflation only. This is kind of Ponzi tokenomics, and governance with no real power, and staking that has no revenue backing it. These would be red flags. Why does this matter? It matters because if a token has real recurring demand, price is more stable and sustainable long term. So that's on the utility. Then point number 5 on my list is a roadmap and execution. This shows how the team plans to grow and deliver. So you need to look here for achievable milestones and past delivery. Clear, realistic roadmap, not something that is not feasible and just, trying to look cool. It has to be realistic. Milestones with concrete timelines. And history of updates and shipping, what we talked about earlier, active GitHub and open source information just to keep the progress that the team is making. And here you've got projects like Avalanche, for example. They are delivering their milestones, subnets, DeFi integrations, and so on. That's a great project. And you've got many ISOs in 2017 that had ambitious roadmaps because that was popular at that time. We had the ISO boom. We had a lot of projects with very ambitious roadmaps, but actually no updates or any progress. So a lot of them failed to deliver, and roadmap was only marketing at that time. But Avalanche, for example, has a track record of execution. Great project. So that's what you want to see when it comes to roadmap and execution. And the white paper is part of it. The white paper will give you more overall information about this project. Then moving on to point number 6, which is partnerships and integrations. Partnerships show credibility and real-world usage. You want to avoid projects where partnerships are just PR mentions. You want to look for meaningful integrations, functional collaborations, and real utility from partnerships. You've got projects like Polygon here, Matt. It integrates with a lot of DeFi platforms, and it works with actual projects showing utility. That's a project that you want to see. You also have Solana. You have all those good projects that you're familiar with and everyone knows in crypto. They have actual partnerships and integrations. And sometimes you would have projects that are just followed on Twitter by celebrities, by influencers. So that's only pure marketing hype. There is no functional impact. Or you would see sometimes fake partnerships just for social proof. That's another red flag that you don't want to see, and you don't want to invest into such kind of project. Then point number 7 on my list is community strength. A strong community can support adoption, can support governance and awareness. And of course, size, quality matter. You want to look for active Discord, active Telegram, active Twitter accounts, and engagement. You also want to see knowledgeable and engaged members and community contributing ideas, not just fake hype and the same posts with no development, purely spam. If you're actively looking for projects to invest into, those that are with small market cap, if you join their Discord or Telegram groups, you would find out with time, especially meme coins and small market cap projects, that a lot of those Discords are just pump and dump groups, artificially inflate activity. And you don't want to invest into projects like that. So have a look at the Discord. You would see what the team is typing over there, what the overall vibe is. Point number 8 on my list is the competitive landscape. Understand the market context and competitors. Does the project have an edge? So what to look for? You want to look for competitors' strengths and weaknesses, and differentiation and unique value proposition. And we gave example with Ethereum at the start. It's the first mover and massive ecosystem. I'll give you one bad example here. The project EOS 2018-2019. It was very centralized, poor adoption, and overhyped as Ethereum's killer. When you see projects named as Ethereum's killer, Solana's killer, whatever, in their own white papers, on their own websites, wherever, that's usually a red flag. You don't want to see these kind of labels. Then point number 9 is on-chain metrics. That's a sign that a lot of investors overlook. So on-chain metrics shows the real usage and engagement on the blockchain, because you can see a lot of hype on social media, but if no one uses this project, nobody does any kind of transactions, no buying, no selling, no volume, you don't need that because it doesn't have potential. You want to see active wallets and transactions on the blockchain. You want to see real usage, not fake volume, because a lot of projects just create fake volume and that's it. There is no real usage, no transactions or active wallets. And we said earlier we want to see developer activity. If you have a look at Bitcoin, you would see millions of wallets, high transaction volume. And there are a lot of projects with fake volume, fake transactions, fake followers. So you need to learn how to differentiate that. And one way to look into that is checking the wallets and the transactions. Then point number 10 is security and audits. That's a very simple one which tells you a lot. If you go to CoinMarketCap, you would see something labeled as a score or the audit page. If you click on it, you would immediately see the score. And you would see if a project is a honeypot, if project is blacklisted. You can easily see this information there quickly. And a lot of people miss to check that, actually. It's a very simple and quick exercise that tells you a lot. If you immediately see that a project is a honeypot, blacklisted, or has a risk associated with it, risk warning, stay away. As simple as it sounds. And you want to see reputable audits, of course, not just any audit. And you want to see that there is no track record of major exploits. And if we look at Polygon, you can see, for example, what kind of information this gives you. And you can see the overall score. You can see what the warnings are. By the looks of it, it has major holders ratio, which is not recommended. But we know that Polygon is a huge, well-established project. And if we look at any other project, if we choose here any random, and if you look at one of those projects, for example, you can see that it has a lot of issues. And if you want to understand further what there is issue with the contract, with the holders, you can further investigate for the project that you're interested. You can search and see what the issues could be with this project potentially. So that's one which is very simple and overlooked very often. Then point number 11 on my list is revenue and sustainability. It determines if the project can survive long term, and you want to see revenue streams, fees, services, products. You want to avoid purely reward-based tokens. For example, Uniswap, that's a great project, and it has governance revenue from trading fees, which is very sustainable. And you would see nowadays there are a lot of projects in DeFi which offer high APY, and these would collapse very easily if inflows stop and if liquidity dries up. And there are a lot of those projects nowadays that offer you a lot of returns, but actually there is no liquidity, there is no inflows. So be aware of those. Uniswap is a great example because it earns real revenue. Point number 12 is narrative alignment. Projects aligned with trends often gain adoption and attention. And you want to see what are the current and emerging trends. You want to see practical real-world narrative fit. And a project that I love here, for example, we'll give you an example with it, is Say. Say's network. It's the first real-world assets trend practical applications. That's what the network is all about. You don't want to see just hype, no utility, or trend alignment. That's one example. Then point number 13 on my list is liquidity and exchange listings. So liquidity affects the ease of buying and selling. You want to see deep order books. You want to see listings on reputable exchanges. At least one tier 1 exchange. You have exchanges which are tier 2 such as KuCoin, Mexi, Bybit, Gate.io, whatever. And you have tier 1 exchanges like Binance, Coinbase, Kraken. Crypto.com is tier 2, but it's also a very good reputable exchange. You want to see listings on one of those, especially if the project's age is mature. If the project has been around for 3 years and it doesn't have any major listings, that's a big red flag. If the project is fairly new, let's say a couple of months, and it has good list of tier 2 exchanges that it's being listed on, and you can see that all the other points from this list are okay, the project is progressing, then you can risk it. But if the project has been on the market for a long time, doesn't have any listings, that's a major red flag. Then point number 14 on the list is social presence and transparency, which is also linked to the theme that we talked about and the community. You want to see developers posting updates, transparent roadmaps, open communication channels, and so on. Like projects like Solana, they have developers, communication, transparent roadmaps. This is what you can invest into. And then number 15 is not a point as such, but it's a couple of red flags that you need to be aware of. Anonymous teams, token unlock cliffs, those are the biggest red flags. Guaranteed APYs that are not sustainable, copy-pasted white papers, volume manipulation, sudden influencer shills. If something is too much shilled by influencers, that's not usually a good sign, because you want to see real utility, not just hype, because hype fades away. But if a project has fundamentals and real use case, it will stay longer. So that's in a nutshell the points I'm looking for. If you want to have the full framework and the checklist so you can tick all the boxes one by one and score the project that you're interested in, you can download that from the link below the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.